for well, and we'll keep looking out for the new music, for the new videos, for the
Yes.
new books, and if God willing, reuniting with one of the
Oh,
baddest
me.
R&B
Oh,
trio.
praise God. That's the goal.
If when God permits,
Yep.
that will
Yep.
be.
If he permits that thing for real, because Kima and Keisha look absolutely amazing. They look so good. They look beautiful. They look so good. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Come on. He's God is a good
Yeah.
singer. He is.
You to another edition of Halftime Chat, and I've got a special guest, and you wouldn't believe it that she has been on the show. This will be her fifth time, more than any other guest that I've had. So that is an amazing landmark. Five times over the past 3 years. So I'm definitely honored. So I'm going to bring in Pamela Long.
Man, thank you
And
for having me.
did you realize this is your fifth time
Wow,
on the
no, I
show?
had no idea. But Nambi, listen, I love being up here with you. I think that you're such a great person. So it's just like I'm grateful.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely honored to be able to have you on, and especially I like the honesty and how you speak and stuff.
Yes.
Um, so today, last week you had uh, released your new book called Unmasked.
Yes.
But congratulations! I mean, I think it might seem straightforward, but actually, I couldn't personally imagine what it's like to write a book, and especially one that is supposed to be as open and revealing as this
Yes.
one. Yes, but we'll get to all this. But how are you doing in general? Just before we get into anything, how are you doing in general?
I'm doing well, thank God. Like, listen, I'm alive and well, man. No complaints at all. You can complain if you want, but it ain't gonna help nothing. So you might as well just leave it alone.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I mean, the last time you were on, we were promoting your new single "Why." I've been a Nigerian and really loved the remix version. Seeing you dancing again and the whole vibe by the beach and everything. How did the single go and what are your thoughts about the song?
You know what? Actually, it was the Gorm remix. It's the Gorm remix. So, yeah,
Yes,
so it's just like I
yeah.
loved it. The feel of it, the Afro
So
beat.
gone.
Yeah,
I
the
don't
Afro
know.
beat
Yeah.
was absolutely amazing. Loved it. Hi, Marcus. How are you? So I definitely loved it. And please know, like, it's just like I believe that it did what it was supposed to do at the time, but I believe that it'll be revisited. Because the world hasn't heard it yet. So it's just like sometimes it takes things for it to bubble up. But for the most part, I'm happy that I'm learning that. Don't get me wrong, as an artist, you want everybody to hear your music. If you are an artist, like if
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it 100, at the same time too, I'm just grateful that I'm able to still put out music and whatever God says the same. Whatever God sees fit for it to do. I think that sometimes for me, it's a humbling. It's very humbling to be like to come from the beginnings of where I came from, and I'm so used to having music all over the radio, and it's just like you want the music that you're doing now to be heard on such a scale, but at the same time too, I think that it all goes hand in hand because it keeps you in a place of just humility, and that when if God says the same and then it takes off, then it's just like I'll be in a better place to where I can be humble instead of thinking that it's all quote unquote about me.
Yeah, is it much a lot more work then as an independent artist to really get? I mean, I love the song, and I love the beat, and I love the whole vibe of it. But I do wonder what it takes to actually get those type of songs. Unless you have a TikTok viral moment, but I mean, and that must be frustrating as an artist that it's almost like luck now instead of
You know
talent.
what? A lot of times, I can say that it is the hard work, but when you um, when you come from such a place, I think it can be a great place as well too because it can teach you how to appreciate things. Don't get me wrong, you're used to it. You thinking that the same love that you used to get before on radio, this, that, and the third, you think that somebody just gonna pick you up, but it's not like that. You got to put the work in. So it's just like if you put the work in, cool. And like you said, sometimes there's certain things that just go viral. But for the most part, it's just like this is where it's at right now for me. And when it comes to music, but there's so many different elements to who I am that I really didn't know. But God is just starting to show me that there's other aspects to Pamela Long than just besides music. So music is my love. Put a mic in my hand and I'm going. Like that's where I want to be. But right now it's just like that's not
Mm.
what is at the forefront. So it's a part of music is a part of who I am, not all of who I am. No. Yeah,
Okay.
I had to learn that
Are
the
you
hard
still?
way. Mm.
Yeah. Are you still doing the fitness?
Yes, absolutely. Still doing the fitness, which is great. Definitely had a great workout today with a client. Just learning so much more, and then I actually had to go back because you got to go back to school for your research. So I'm just going back for my research again, and it's just like I'm learning so much more about different elements of the body, um, picking up to where I'm going to be able to help people in different areas, people with arthritis, as far as like certain things with stretch flexibility. And then today I did an amazing workout with a client in the pool. So it's just like I'm learning. I'm kind of doing a good bit of everything right now, but it's not everything just all over the place. It's everything with meaning, and so it's just like I'm grateful that God would trust me in such a way again. So I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love
Yeah. Wow.
it.
And I know the last time you said you sometimes are you working with kids as well?
Yes, Nambi. Yes, I'm working at the dance school with the kids, so it's just like now I'm just like I really am just like kind of like beside myself with some of these things because I'm an acrobatic, a certified acrobatic teacher. Then then it's just like without qualifications, I'm just like, yo, all right, God. So with that, and it's just like he qualifies the unqualified. So it's just like also just working with them with tap, ballet, and when I say Nambi, these kids, I'm learning so much from them, the innocence and the beauty of just like believing. I'll say it that way because kids, I'm telling you, you can learn so much from the babies, and just their love is just so just pure, just the purity of working with these kids. So it's just like, man, listen, I'm grateful that God has taken me this way. Sometimes it's just like you want to go a different route, but it's just like God is like, no,
Mm.
if you go that route, you'll wind up where you were or worse. But if you go the route that I'll take you, you never, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, for somebody who, I remember when we first spoke, and you spoke about the early days of being inspired by Michael Jackson and wanting, the whole dancing and the whole movement, and the fact that you were in one of the biggest groups and girl groups in the '90s, and really at the forefront. Do you miss the taking being on stage and doing that as opposed to, yeah, I'm sure you have benefit, you have joy teaching the young kids and one to one, but that element of being the show person that you were really great at, do you miss those elements?
Absolutely. If I was to sit here and tell you anything else, I would be absolutely lying. And it's just like to have what I can say is this is that I got confronted with a situation to be able to do some things musically. But right now, it's just like God is not pulling me in that direction. And so, because of that, the hardest thing sometimes is to say no, you know. But I would not trade the joy, the peace, um, just the contentment that I have with God and just knowing that I'm in a place where He's happy with me instead of having the turmoil and all the things that I was going through before because of my decision making. But to know that I'm following the plan that God has for me, even if it looks different to someone else, um, I'm grateful. Because Nambi, I promise you, I was just like, all the money in the world cannot equate to the peace and the joy that I have right now because I know that I'm in right relationship with God. I'm hearing from God again, and being around these kids, like I said, being around the kids and just learning how to be a real person. I think a lot of times that, you know, I'll say for myself, the makeup, you can put the makeup on, you can put everything on to make it seem like you have this great life. And that everything is well. But I tell you what, boy, when the Maybelline is off, you get to see the real thing. And so it's just like right now, I thank God that I'm living a real life as a real person, from the heart, truly wanting to serve God with everything. Do I still fall down? Yes, but I don't stay down. Am I intentionally doing things to just do whatever? Absolutely not. I'm not trying to intentionally do things the wrong way anymore. So it's just like to have all of that. Listen, the no's that I had to say, and I'm pretty sure that I may get confronted with again throughout my career. It's just like, yo, what's worth it? Peace, joy, and money, fame, fortune that's fleeting. You know?
Yeah, because I mean, you released your book last week and you were promoting it over the last couple of weeks. But at the same time, I saw Kima and Keisha
Mm-hmm.
hugging and saying, "Yeah, we're back." DJ Cassidy is having Pastor Mike, I think, in New
Right.
Jersey, and Total up there. So as fans, it's like, okay, we're going to put one and two together, and we'll get four because it looks as if Pamela's come out with a new book. Kim and Keisha are rehearsing, so I'm sure you're going to be. It's going to be a big
Right.
thing. Was that ever something that there was ever? Was that ever? I mean, officially, are you part of that?
Yeah.
First and foremost, and
You
then
know what? No, I'm actually not a part of it.
okay,
Nambi, like I said, it's something that God has taken me in a different direction, and it's just like I cannot afford to play with that. I'm gonna just say it like that for myself. Like the girls, Kim and Keisha, them beautiful ladies, I want to see them rock every stage that they get on. That's from the heart. Like I want to see them do whatever it is that they need to do, and for themselves. At the same time, too, it's just like I'm learning that what's for someone else is not for me. Because especially when God can be pulling people in different directions. He can say to this one, I need for you to do this, I need for you to do this, and I need for you to do that. And all three of us have a choice to make. And it's just like I know in my heart that God is just like Pamela, no. And it's just like what's so dope about God is that when you be obedient to him, it's just like God, he doesn't have to do it, but he'll begin to show you glimpses as to why you can't do certain things. And he doesn't even have to do that because he's God. It's just like, yo, he can be like, you remember how your parents used to say, go do X, Y, and Z, and you be like, why? Because I told you so. That's why. Because
yeah,
I'm the authority, do what it is that I say. And so I'm so grateful that even God and just his beautiful, infinite power and all knowledge will just give me some glimpses as to say, Pamela, okay, let me show you the reason why I don't want you to do X, Y, and Z. So it's just like, who's to say if it's forever? And if it's forever, then it's just like, I pray that I'm forever obedient. That's what I want to be, forever obedient. Um, with that, so it's just like, has it been hard? Is it hard to walk?
yeah.
And listen, anybody that knows me, that a mic in my hand, ever since I was a little girl, that's all I did was sing in the hall. I'm going to school, singing in the hallway. Like I'm like, yo, look, I don't want to go to nobody's college. That ain't what I want to do. I want to sing. That's it. I don't even want to be in school. I want to sing in the classroom. I want to sing in the hallway. I want to sing in the bathroom. So it's just like this is something that has always been, my go-to, and it's a no-brainer for me. So for me to say no, what is behind that? Why would I just say no just to say no? It makes no sense. So what makes sense to me is that being obedient to God, to say, okay, God, you know what? I trust you to take care of me. Because Nambi, at the end of the day, I still got bills. I still got bills.
Mhm.
I'm putting out music and putting out videos and putting the book together and the editors and the this and the that. It's still money that's involved. And it's just like, I can't even say that I don't take credit for any of that. God is the one who's providing for me. So I say all that to say is that, how the young people say, get the bag. Yo, who wouldn't want the bag right now?
Mhm.
Who wouldn't want to be on the
Yeah.
tours that they like, yo, can we get you to come do X, Y, and Z? And I'm saying to God, like, God, I'm not going to go out here and wild out with the money. Like, I'm in a good place right now. But when he says N-O, no, what do? You got a choice. You can either say, "Okay, God, cool. I'm gonna rock with you," or either, God, you know what? I'm gonna go my own way. and see what happens. I know what the own way happened. When I went my own way the last time, listen, I'm not trying, as my godson would say, I'm not trying to be smoked by God anymore. Absolutely not.
Yeah, but then, um, as a human being, how hard is it to tell Kima and Keisha, like, guys, I love you and stuff, but
Hmm.
yeah, no, it's just, you know some of my history, and I'm not in a space right now to be able to go over that. Is that a hard conversation, and do they understand you well enough to see and accept you?
You know what? I would say any conversation with anybody that bucks up against the what's the word I'm looking for? The grain. If it bucks up against the grain with anybody, that conversation is rough.
Mm.
It's a rough conversation. Like even if you had if a spouse of two people are married, to have that with your spouse, you kind of looking like, God, you want me to say what? Like God, like, oh, oh, God, that's a little deep. Like God, you really want me to say this? And it's just like even if we look at it from a biblical standpoint, when the prophets, when they had to go and tell Israel, this is the way, such and such and such. I was reading something today in Second Chronicles about one of the no, excuse me, it was in Jeremiah chapter 22 about one of the kings, and the word that Jeremiah had to give to this king was just like, yo, like God is like, even though he had seven sons, it was just like God was like, he's gonna like he's childless, like so meaning like none of your kids, like none of them going, all your descendants gonna die, you and your kids, like none of them are gonna sit on the throne. And it's just like, yo, like for Jeremiah to give that hard word, it's just like, yo, God, you want me to say what? So it's just like I say all that to say is that it's just like, yo, sometimes, God puts you in a place to where it's just like sometimes God is just like, yo, choose. And it's not a bad thing because he knows every the thing about it is though, I think a lot of times um we look at things, we can look at things and as people, as humans, myself included. It's just like you can look at things and be like, yo, like why? And because God is like, for one, because I told you to. And then two, because he's the greatest parent ever. And it's just like God is like, I know what's down the line. You don't. I do, because I'm God. And so that's the stuff that I'm
Mm.
I'm grateful for. So the hard things is something that has always been a rough spot for me, Mandy, because of the fact of I didn't like confrontation. I'm not like I don't want to have conflict, and that's not
Mm.
something that's realistic all the time. It's not. And conflict is not. It's not like I'm coming in. If you're not coming in with malice, deception, or any of those things. But sometimes you're gonna have to say stuff that's not agreeable. So it's just like, yo, look, I'm pretty sure, like at the end of the day, it's just like, dog, okay. But for me, it's just like, yo, I'm rocking, I'm going, I'm rooting for y'all. Don't get me wrong. Did I have my moments of when I found out, like it was just like, even though I was just like, all right, cool, 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 I'm cool, cool, cool. Did that thing hit me like boom? I was like, oh, and it was just like I had to check myself, like, okay, am I really happy? Am I really happy for them going forward? You know what I mean? Without Pamela? Because for one, Pamela didn't make total. Neither did Puffy, nor did this one or that one. Nobody made total. Three girls, three women that was put together, came together by the grace of God and became total. But without one another, it shouldn't be that you can't go on. That makes no sense because that's too much dependence on one person. So it's just like for me, it's
Mm.
just like they don't need me to rock out. They don't because they had the gift. They had what God gave them before I even came in. So it's just like, do we add to one another's life? Absolutely. But to take that fullness and be like, oh, because one is not there, then the other two can't rock. Absolutely not. I think that that's wrong. And I had to come to the realization of those things in my own life is that, yo, look, I don't make anybody. God created me. God created me, and people don't make me either. And that's something that I'm still working out within my own self to be like, yo, if somebody with me or they not, as long as I got God and as long as I got Christ Jesus, I and the Holy Spirit, I'm good. I'm good.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, but and because and I think this will lead us to your book, and I guess it will lead us to why that you've made these decisions, and I guess fans would just want to know. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
the Jacksons could reunite, and Michael's like,
Right.
yeah, I could come and stuff, but if they got a third member, a new person, how would you feel? How would you feel from the outside, thinking, "Oh man, they could have just gone about themselves," or
Right.
would you be fine with the two of them on like
You
that?
know what, Nambi? That one thing that I'm looking at, and honestly, like I'm pretty sure, just from a human standpoint, it'd probably be like it probably. I can't even say that it would hurt or it wouldn't hurt. In all honesty,
Mm.
because I'm looking at myself and I could sit here and be like, oh, I wouldn't be bothered. I wouldn't be bothered. But at the end of the day, it's just like if I look at it, the Temptations did it. You know what I mean? Look at all the groups that did it and still went on. So it's just like I look at
Mm.
that to say is that whatever it is that has to happen for life to continue to go on for people, then I'm saying, yo, look, and it's the way that you feel that in your heart that God is leading you, because you can do stuff that ain't God. So I ain't even gonna promote that. But if God is leading you in such a way, yo, listen, by all means, do what you have to do. Like I think that, yo, total Kima and Keisha can get out there and rock. We've had so many different people on. I don't know what kind of surprises they're about to come out with. I don't know what they're about to do, but I believe that they're going to rock the stage because they can do it. You know what I mean? Because they can. It may not be, it may not be with Pamela on the stage with them, but it's Kim and Keisha who was a part of the group total. And I think that to diminish that in any kind of way, I ain't with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So for the fans, you give them your
Yeah.
blessings, Kima and Prisha, and you're gonna be rooting for
Yeah,
them, even though you're not
absolutely,
gonna be part of it.
absolutely. And my thing is this: is that for them to be careful, because there's so much stuff out here in the industry nowadays. Do what it is that you need to do, and and leave, because there's so much stuff that's out here and it's different right now. Nambi is so different. The industry is so different now, to where it's just like it's everybody. It's a lot
I
of
mean, people might think, okay, when you guys were younger, we understood because you guys were young and how vulnerable you are. But people think, well, you guys are much older now.
Mhm.
I know Keisha and Kima have families and stuff, so they should be safer.
Right.
But and then yourself, you're like, okay, I've gone for all this experience, so I should be a lot more safer. But there's still a worry that actually it's still as much as you think you know, you probably don't won't know
Right,
everything.
absolutely. Because one thing about it is, though, the devil stay on his job. Listen, like, yo, that dude is. He don't care if you if you one day old, hour old, or whatever. Listen, if he can get you, he gonna try to get you. So that's my thing, is that they safe, they well, they do what they need to do, and just and it's just like, yo, you could still be, how can I say it? You can be in the midst of something and not be a part of it. So it's just like I'm grateful
Mm.
that they are in the midst of it. They still have the opportunity, to go forward and do what it is that they can do. And I just thank God that that they're not a part of it. Don't be a part of it. Listen, I'm not trying to be a part of it. I'm not trying to be a part of
Yeah.
the industry, And before that's it's different now, because that was all that I wanted. So it's just like just seeing things differently, and all of us get older, and it's just like I'm grateful and thankful that that I can see differently now, because before I wanted to be a part of everything. Me personally, everything. Everything. And it's just
Yeah.
like when you like that, yo, listen, if you a part of everything, what will you do to stay apart or be in it? So it's just like, man, you can lose a lot.
What about, because you still love performing, and if you're not going to go on tour with Total,
Hmm.
have you then considered doing shows as Pamela Long and then incorporating some of your singles, but also some of your Total tracks that you enjoy doing?
You know what? Definitely. I can say that I was asked about some things like something like that. As far as incorporating the old songs, and and Nambi, like I said, it's like I definitely can say that God put a pause on the total stuff. So, and it's just like, and
Wow.
it's something that I look at as, it's just like it's I don't have all the answers for it. All I can do is just say that I'm being obedient. And it's just
Mm.
like, so for me to start over fresh and new, it's just like, God is just like, yo, Pamela, God is like Pamela Long. and I'm just like, okay, cool. Like this is Pamela Long. So yes, am I looking to do music, and am I looking to continuously do music later on and all of that stuff? Absolutely. Whatever it is that he allows me to do, I'm definitely looking to do it. As far as the total thing right now, like I said, I don't know if it's forever. I just know that God put a no on it, and it's just like,
Mm.
okay. It's just like, okay. And it's
Yeah.
just like, and especially like, don't get me wrong, as an artist, yo, listen, ooh, when you get paused, when you get a pause on your artistry, like it's just like when you with the performing part for me, that the performing is the highlight for me. Like it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
studio is fine, all of that stuff, but being on that stage for me, and to have that pause put there, Namdi. But I get it though, I get it because God knows, he knows the right timing. He knows regardless of what, it's just like God is just like, yo, look, um, he's able to do the impossible. Namdi, I feel great. I thank God that I feel good. And I say this in a place of just humility. I thank him that I'm about to be 48 years old, Lord willing, on Sunday, right? So I'm gonna be
Oh
48, and
goodness.
I don't feel 48. I don't look 48, and it's just like God is a preserver of life, and He's like, "Yo, look,
Uh,
I can preserve you and put you back on any stage that I want to put you on." And to me, and
mm,
then we see that it's biblical. It's a dude in the Bible in the Book of Numbers by the name of Caleb. He was 85 years old when he started going into the Promised Land. In the book of Joshua, I believe it is. And it
mm,
was just like he was 85 years old. And he was like, yo, I'm going. He said, I feel like I did when I was in my 40s, like 40 years ago. Yeah, we've been in the
mm,
wilderness for 40 years. But he like, yo, look, I still got that fervor. He
mm.
still was able to move. It's just like, yo, so I look at it as God knows the timing of everything, because sometimes if you let something out a little bit too quickly, it's just like it can
Mm.
be a revert, you know what I mean? Or some things can get messed up. So it's just like, man, listen, don't get me wrong. I miss the stage. I absolutely do. And Namdi, what I'm so grateful for is that there are times when I'm working out, right? And I'm at the gym, and I thank God for it. I'll go into one of the rooms, right? And I'll go in one of the rooms, and Namdi, I will dance when I say I'm dancing. I got my headphones on and I'm dancing and I'm going. And I was just like, and I said to God, I was like, God, I'll dance for you. Like, God, I'll only dance for you. And that thing kind of get me a little emotional, a little bit, Namdi, because it's just like that's who I want, because I know that He's everything. And it's just like I thank God, because Namdi, if He let me out a little bit too fast, then it's just like I don't want to go back to what I was. You know what I mean? So He knows.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I think God right now is just really just changing my heart to know that He's everything. Not what I do, not any of that stuff, but
Mm.
He is. And I believe that once that He finished with all of this, sky's the limit. And I'm running. And
Absolutely.
Nambi, I'm going. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Well, in August of 2020, you released Total Exposure Pieces of Me,
Right.
and when you were promoting it, we were like, wow, okay, wow, you kind of were digging into
Yes.
early childhood and things among your family and
Yes.
stuff. But you came back and said, actually, you know what? I kind of embellished a lot of things and misled things, which is very strange and not very common for somebody to
Right.
say. Um, what happened that you when you wrote that book that you decided to do things like that, and what was going on?
Right. You know what, Nambi? In all honesty, to say what the reason as to why I lied, because I love the word that you use, like embellished. It was so nice. But the reason why I lied, you know what I mean? Like, all right, come on, let's get to the lie. And so it's just like, so with that, to be honest, you know what, Nambi, that's just who Pamela, Pam was. That's who Pam was. It was just like, man, listen, I've always been this liar. And anything not dealt with, it's just like, I'm learning that anything that I've learned, anything not dealt with, all it does is that it just hides and it just grows and gets bigger. And so I say all that to say is that I don't have the answers as to why I lied. Did I lie? Yes. Did I lie about everything? No. But what I do know is that one lie, that's all it takes to diminish like everything, you know? So it's just like any truth with a lie in it, it's just like it levies everything. So it's just like I thank God. What I do thank God for is that He still covered me in the midst of it. And what I mean by that is this: is that because it's just like He didn't tell me to put in the book everything that it is that I lied about. He said to admit it. You know, to admit it. Yes, I did lie. Was I wrong? Absolutely. And I can tell you that I paid a high price for it. You know, I lost a lot, almost even my mind. I literally, and I talk about it in the book, Unmasked. That's you
Mm.
know, the ugly truth. Um, I talk about how God is just like, yo, you can't play with God. You know, you cannot play with God. And because I played with God and I played with His people, you know, I was at the time a minister in the church, um, and at
Mm.
yeah, and I say that playing with God will get you nowhere except for either in a grave or halfway in one. Listen. And so, yeah, yeah. So I can't explain the reason as to why. But what I can say is that Pamela was a liar. Yes, I was. You know, but I really can say that I thank God is that when you truly come to a place where you're either going to submit or either it's just like, yo, like, what do you do? Like after that, like it's just like to me, it's submission or death, you know, unto God, you know, because and I thank God that, yo, like Nambi, just upon submitting to God and continuously pressing into his heart, he changed my heart because he finally saw that Pamela was being truthful. Because every time I played, I was still playing. Now, mind you, like all the stuff going on in my life, right? And all of this stuff happening, I was still playing with God. And it was just like, yo, and how did I know that? Because I know that I thank God because don't get me wrong, we all are human, right? But I definitely know that the church that I go to, that they are true believers in Christ Jesus and that Christ is there. And so every time I was still lying and playing and thinking ain't nobody know, every time God would call me out again. You still lying. You still hiding stuff. And it was just like the snowball effect would happen all over again. But when I finally got Nambi, I don't even remember. I can't even pinpoint when I got real. But what I did was that I would not stop crying out to God because literally I was in my house, literally falling apart and dying. And what I mean by that is that there was at one point when a woman of God from my church was a prophetess of God. We was on. This is when we was on Zoom. This is when COVID was,
Mm.
you know, very high, and church was over, and she had said something, and she said something. She's like, Pamela, are you eating? And Namdi, at the time, I was so thin because I was in my
Mm.
house praying and fasting, trying to get God to talk to me. Because literally, Namdi, I was, when I say literally, almost my mind was like a snap away from being like broken. I literally was calling mental institutions. I called a couple of people, like, you know, just to try to talk to them. And then it was one that I thought I was going to have to admit myself to. And I started crying. And I'm crying because I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to do it. But I called anyway, you know. And I say all that to say is that I literally was in my house dying, like literally. I didn't, it was just like God, I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. And God made it known to me, you know. And I say that like He made it known to me. Like I didn't know if I was going to die or not. So I started putting my will, I got my will in place. And I didn't want to
Mm.
say anything to, you know, my family or whatever. But my brother, I thank God for my brother Namdi because my brother answered the phone for me. And I talk about it in the book. My brother answered the phone for me every time I called him, just about every time I called. And he and I had a conversation probably like a little while ago. I'll say it that way. And he said to me, he said, the reason why I answered my phone, he said, I told my wife, is that I'm picking my phone up for my sisters because I don't want to go to her house and find her dead in the house. And
Wow.
so, yeah, Namdi, that's what I say to people is that playing with God, man, listen, it's a high cost that you will pay for real. Yeah.
I mean, one would ask that when you wrote Total Exposure, what was the motivation to write that, to talk about your life?
Hmm.
Because if you didn't write it, you probably wouldn't have to. I think I'll equate it to um, I think when in Acts, when they asked them to, the husband and wife sold their stuff and gave half and said, yeah, this everything.
Hmm.
It's like, but you didn't need to sell it, and it was your stuff. So the question then becomes, well, why did you even have to write the first book, Total Exposure, and embellish it? If you could have written about how life was in the music industry, but you chose to go through some details around families and things like that, which were really dark. I mean, was whose idea was it in the first place to actually write? Was it something that you wanted to do? Or did you think God told you to do? Or
Right now, mind you, I knew that God told me to write a book. I knew that I was supposed to write a book. The line in the book was never supposed to be a part of the book. And so I say all
mm,
that to say is that I was having a conversation with a woman of God that I know, and she said something to me that was so dope, right? I thank God for her. She said to me, I was telling her, I was like, about the lion, and she said to me, she says, "So he was a storyteller," and it was just like, dog, hmm. And it's the truth. So it's just like, instead of saying the dog jumped over the couch. The dog jumped over the couch and then he ran down a hill and then he went left and then he went right. And then as he was running, he was such, to make it sound good, with the add-ons. And so it's just like that thing hit me. And she said this to me probably about a couple of weeks ago. And she's like, "So you are a storyteller." And that right there prompted me to go to, I was like, "All right, God, I thank God for that." And I went to God and I prayed. I said, "God, I don't want to be a storyteller no more. I want to be a truth teller." It's a difference. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know if that answers your question, but it answers it for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then what is different with Unmasked?
You know what?
What exactly is different with
Mm.
Unmasked?
Unmasked is definitely something I had no idea that, when the title of the book came about, it was just something that actually my apostle had said to me. She was just like, you're going to do another book. She had said this to me, I mean, wow, before even when Total Exposure, after it had came out and all of that stuff, right? And she said the word, she was just like, yeah, she's like, unmasked, you know what I mean? And I was just like, okay. And I kept the name in my mind and I wrote, I like to do like a little outline here and there sometimes or whatever, and try to get it down. But I tell you what, yeah, I never thought Unmasked was going to be about me. So yeah, I never thought that it was going to be me. And so it's just like all the exposure, all the things that God did. He unmasked the girl that looked like she was the golden girl, the girl that loved Jesus, and I'm just so, I love God, I love God. And God was just like, all right, cool, this is what I'm about to do. I'm about to unmask all of that. So this book is just like, yo, listen, it's just unmasking my life and just telling people, hey, listen, don't do what I did. Please don't. It's in it. A young lady that I spoke to, that actually edited the book. Shout out to Tiffany Stewart, and she put the pieces of this book together, amongst a couple other people as well, which I'm grateful for. Um, she said to me like the book is like a long apology letter. She's like, you're apologizing to everybody, you know what I mean? And that it's just like, yo, to live something and to make people think that you're 100% in that thing, and it's just like, you're not even 50% of that, man. It's just like this book is just like, I thank God for the ugly truth because it is ugly. And she mentioned something about the cover of the book, right? She said, she's like, such a beautiful picture. She's like, and looks can be so deceiving. She's like, because it's so
Mm.
beautiful. She's like, it's so beautiful. And it's just like, she's like, but you don't know, people don't know the truth behind it. It can be so ugly, So it was just like, wow. And when she said that to me, I was like, so yeah, Nandi, I'm telling you, like, God is just doing a great and awesome thing in my life. And it's just like, yo, getting all of the lying out of me. and I'm grateful for it. I don't want it no more. Like before, it was something that I wanted to hide, and I gotta put on, and I gotta be God not gonna let me put on no more. It's like, no, you lied. All right, say
Mm.
it. Like, oh God,
Yeah.
and so but I thank God for it because he puts me on front street, he puts me on blast, I can't even front and be like, it's just like, oh yay, 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 you know. But what I can say, Nambi, is that I'm grateful to God for what he's doing in my life and in my heart. And it's just like I see him changing me. I can see the change in me.
Mm.
And it's just like, and I'm just like, wow, God, like, thank you for making me into this real person. And that's my thing now, just to be a real person. I
Mm.
feel good.
So, so those who are going to be curious to, and I put the Amazon link in the chat, and it's in the description. But what are you covering in Unmask? Are you going back to where you were born, your childhood, how you got into the music industry, and then almost retelling it in a different way, or the challenges you had? So what are you covering in Unmask, so people can be aware as they buy and
You
order?
know what? What I'm covering as far as just it's just like I would say my life, just the ugliness of the things that from what when you saw the total exposure and going forward and unmasking is just Pamela Long. And I don't want to give too much about the book away, but I can tell you is that what I will say is that I believe that a lot of people can identify with it because it's people who wear masks, people who wear masks. And I can say, Namdi, if not for nothing else, God has allowed me to see that there are people um, that are in, I don't know if it's to say different rankings or different levels that, people look up to and this, that, and the third, that God has allowed me to see that the hurt and the things that I masked up is there in their life as well too. And this book will really just, it's like it's a cry to let people know, hey, listen, like do it now while you got the time. Like get out of this thing while you got the time. Because if not, let me just tell you everything that happened to me. So this book is telling everything that happened to me, the losses, the mind, the mindset that I was in. Nambi, for my mind to be broken, for God to tell me through the mouth of His prophet that I was on spiritual life support and that my mind was moments from snapping. Namely, no, the pressure that I felt in my mind, like I couldn't get it together for years, and God left me in that state. So this is a cry to let people know, like, hey, listen, to put on a mask and to make the outside so beautified, but the ugly is all within. God sees that. People see one thing, but God sees all things, and we can't get past Him. So it's just like, yo, listen, like tell the truth now. Like you don't have to get so deep in this thing. And if you deep in it already, then it's just like, yo, look, I know that it's scary. I know that it can be like, yo, like, oh my goodness, like you freaking out. Because I promise you there were moments when I was freaking out. And I just say tell the truth. That's what this book is unmasking. Let me just tell you like some of the content, right? Some of the names of the
Yeah,
chapters.
some of the chapter.
Some of the chapters names is It Ain't Over, Finding Peace, Phony Baloney, Lying Lips, Consequence of Sin, Living a Better Life, Make It Easy, Let Down Your Guard, Addressing the Real Me, Daddy's Little Girl, What Do You Do When It's Only You, Would, WOOD, You Be Mine, and Who's Looking at Me. So and it's just like this book is like a book of it becomes a book at the end towards like accountability. Like it's just like I have a responsibility as a person, as a human being, at the end of the day, to do what's right, regardless as um, to what, So yeah, yeah, I have a
Yeah. Do
responsibility if
you,
I think that I'm high on the scale or low on the scale. Whichever wherever I am as a person, I have a responsibility to tell the truth. I have a responsibility, for my actions and all that I do. So yeah.
So you know that we live in a, well, we're a culture of sensationalism. So if you saw Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay and Monique, and you see that we're a culture that loves the the gossips and the stories. And
Mhm.
if somebody comes in and says, "Okay, let me tell you what it was like being a recording artist and all the parties and all the things that were happening behind the scenes," that's what everyone seems to gravitate to, those type of stories and stuff. Because not only does it sell, in in some cases it could be, yeah, I was in this, but it was killing me, and I was dying, but I just thought I had to fit in. Um, how much of that are you bringing into Unmask, some of those type of things that actually people weren't aware of about some of your past, and how you might be living a double life trying to fit in?
You know what? I can say that the part about the double life, because you can't live a double life. It's just like you're gonna either live the right way, or either you're gonna live the wrong way. But living a double life, the only person that you're fooling is yourself, and it's gonna catch up to you. Anything that you do in the dark is gonna come to the light. But to say that I have a book that is filled with, the what you just spoke about, absolutely not.
Mm.
Because that's not at all where God would have me to go. So it's just like, like you said, I look at this, Namdi. If God told me, and it's just like, I thought about this thing because I'm like, all right, like I said, you put a lot out into to the things that it is that you do that He tells you to do, right? But if God told me to get a box of books and give every last book out to people, what am I going to do? I'm going to be obedient because He obviously knows that this book needed to come into the earth. If it was for one person,
Mm.
then the one person that it was for, then Namdi, I thank God because I know that when I get to heaven, when I get into the presence of the Lord, when I get into His presence, when I leave here and I'm in His presence, all I'm looking for is to hear Him say, "Well done." So it's just like, right now, don't get me wrong, as when you do stuff as any person, like it's just like, yo, you like, yo, I put this out, I did this. You want people to go out and get what it is that you've done. Don't get me wrong, you definitely, I know that I do. I'm gonna say that. But at the end of the day, Namdi, if this is for one person, and it's just like, yo, look, then is that one person? I remember one time when a gentleman friend that I know, God rest his soul, he said he was talking about something, and he was like, "Is a soul worth more than money?" Then it's just like, yeah, somebody's soul is worth more than it. So if God tells you to do something, then it's just like, yo, we're the ones that slow it up by being disobedient and not doing it. So it's just like, yo, look, if you tell me to get a box of books and hand them all out, Namdi, I'm going to hand them out. And then there are some things, that, like I said, it's just like I believe that there are people that, not even I believe, I know that there are people that need these words because I know how jacked up, how broken I was, how out of my mind I was. And it's just like, yo, that's the part that's scary because if they don't turn, Jesus, if they don't turn, Nambi, what happens? Because what God has given to me does not mean that He'll give it to somebody else.
Mm.
And that's the part that messes me up is that we can't think that, okay, I'll get it together at some other time. We don't know if we have it. So that's the part that kind of get me a little bit. So that just got to get it together for a minute. That's the part that gets me because we don't know. We don't know that because okay, God did it for Pamela. Okay, but did God God is God. He showed me grace and mercy because He showed it to me, and I'm grateful. But He's still the same God to take people out of here that be like, yo, God, okay, all right, look, all right, you just ain't gonna do what it is that I told you to do. And we have reference of that from the Bible, from the Word of God. I don't care how many people think that it's not real, that's not true, but it is.
Yeah. I know that I think it was I and I've just looked, and I remember back in October of 2022 you were in your car
Mm-hmm.
and you released a video apologizing, Um, and I wonder if that was when you really realized what you did in Total Exposure, and because it was well received. People like, well, it's um, um, people are forgiven if somebody says, yeah, I've messed up. You always have people who would always um, aren't forgiven regardless. But it felt like a lot more people were like, well, okay, you're owning up and stuff. How has that journey been to have to say, I messed up, I've lied,
Right.
and I want to come true? How hard has that been in that process and that journey?
Then do you know what that process was scary? You know what I mean? Like it's just like who wants, in my head, at those times, in those moments, man, it was so like it was terrifying. It was like my whole like I said earlier, I'm kind of like freaking out, like I'm in the
Mm,
trance, like. But it's just like I know that I have to do it because it's just like I know what God is impressing on my heart, so or impressing like I can just feel just impressing, like it's just like all right, or either He say like yo, like apologize for what it is that you've done, right? So with all of that being said, um, I had a moment last week, and it was just like I was talking to somebody, and I lied. I was talking. It was three women that I know. Talking to them, and the kids were there. I was talking to them, and I lied. Right. So mind you,
mm,
I come home and I'm in the house, and mind you, I hear like a number in my head. I told them one thing, and I hear this other. I hear a number in my head, right? But I didn't say nothing. I'm all right. I'm all right. It's the Holy Spirit. I ain't say nothing. Right? I get home. Da 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 da. I'm talking to the Lord. He brings it back. He brings it up. And so I said, okay, God, I repented. I said, God, what do you want me to do? And He said, apologize. I was like, oh, shoot. So I would have my moments where I'm freaking out, right? But Namdi, one thing that God showed me is that He shows me this is that for one, shut your mouth and don't lie, right? Then two, what He showed me is this is that I'm God. And that when you come to me, who are you going to be more afraid of? Because I see everything all the time. Like I see stuff. People don't see stuff, they don't know, whatever the case may be. But I see stuff all the time. Get it right with me. And that, no, I'm not telling people to go out here and just be doing stuff and then just go to God and be like, God, I'm sorry, da da da. Absolutely not. Because God know your heart in that. But I tell you one thing, Namdi, is that I'm learning how to be like I wasn't like not to freak out and to be like, you know what? Okay, God, I was wrong. And I went to them and I apologized for what I did. And my thing is that, God, I don't want to be this person. No, I'm not a liar anymore, but have I lied? Yes. You know what I mean? Am I still looking to be like, yo, I'm not living in this place no more. And I'm like, yo, I'm not going back to that. So I don't want any more open doors when it comes to certain things. So Pamela just has to learn how to just tell the truth all the time, So, and I'm just being real. I'm just being 100. So,
yeah, but I guess it's it's one thing now. You've written Unmasked, available on Amazon. Um, what are your expectations for after the book is out, and do you think it means another book? Do you think it go back to music, or what do you think will happen after this is out?
what, Nambi, is something that you said that. You know what? I definitely can say that it's more to come. I definitely do know that. I'll say that it's more to come. I don't know which way that God is going to go. I don't know if He's going to tell me to. All right, now is the time, Pamela. All right, this is the music part. Like, all right, so now you can do the music now. You can do both or whatever. If it was up to me, I'm telling you, I'm on that stage, God. Let me just, God, can I get the microphone, God? Can I get the mic back in my hand? And so with that, but definitely looking to be going on a book tour, Lord willing, if it be the will of the Lord, to go on a book tour and to get this book into the hands of those that that God is saying that need it. I definitely can say that it's a good bit of women that I definitely wanted to get this book to. I talked about some things with Kimberly, and I don't want to put everything out there, so I just want to make sure that I'm
Hmm.
a little careful with how I say it. But for the most part, I have some great things in the making, and it's just like Namdi, I'm excited, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I believe that there is, well, not even believe, I know that there's more to come. When it comes to this, so it's just like music, books, music, working out. I know that there's some things coming down the pipeline with that as well too. So it's just like I'm excited about the journey. I'm excited about the journey. But if you hear anything that God tell you that, yeah, the Lord is laying in my heart that you need to come here and do a show. Oh yes, God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
So I wonder if you got a ticket to go watch Kima and Keisha at New Jersey, would you be there? And they said, "Can we get
Right.
Pamela on the stage?" And you might be like,
Ooh.
"Uh, "You need me have people to hold you
Right, I
back
would have to go
because
to the
you want
bathroom.
to."
Look, I'm gonna cut out and go to the bathroom because I gotta go. God, please help me with this. And you know what? What's something is that I definitely can say that I wouldn't even put myself in that situation because you already know you sitting out there, you itching to get on the stage. It's just like everything in you is just like get on the stage, and you hear somebody call your name, you might step out of the wrong place. So it's just like do not put yourself in a place of temptation. Don't do it. Don't even do it. Don't even do it. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. But I definitely know that they probably I'm believing that they really are gonna rock the stage. I know that they are. They are. They are.
Yeah.
And I would tell everybody to go to the shows because I believe that it's more than one Namdi, if I'm not mistaken. I think that they're if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Vegas. Is it Vegas?
Yeah, so right now they've just announced the Cassidy one, so they
Okay.
haven't really said anything outside of the Pastor
Okay.
Mike in New
Okay.
Jersey. So if they if they've got other things, they haven't officially announced
Okay.
anything. But are you able to listen to yourself singing "Can't You See" and all the songs? Can you listen to the
You know what?
music now, even though?
I don't listen to it now. Honestly, I don't. But if I hear it, like I
Okay,
I was at I was actually at a spot we was at a place eating, right? So we in a place and then we sitting there and the next thing you know, all you hear is doo, 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 doo. And all I could do, I was like, really? I was like, really? Okay. I was like, really? This is what we doing, but it was just like it was just beautiful. It was like a moment, like we just looked at each other, like really, really, and so it was cool. It was definitely cool. So it's just like, but do I listen? Namely, I don't even really listen to the radio at all. For the most part, on my phone when I'm working out, I got a lot of stuff that I listen here on my phone too. I listen to a lot of gospel music. I listen to, of course, I listen. Don't get me wrong, I listen to Michael when I'm working out. Michael. Yes, I go Michael. I go Michael. And I even you know what I listen to Pump Up the Jam and Finally, and it's just like yeah. So
okay, okay. It was kind of how Stacey Peniston.
So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
listen to the joints. I listen to Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
Jerusalem.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
listen to
yeah,
that, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
listen to a couple of other Afro the artist. This one dude. Oh, he's so fire. Let me give him a shout out because he actually is a Christian artist. He is so dope. Tell me if you know this dude. Is it Limo Blaze, and Banky? Limo Blaze.
No, no, no. I'm sure if
Yo,
I'm sure. Okay,
Limo
I'll.
Blaze. Oh, Nambi, dude is fire, straight fire. His music is fire. I'm like, woo. So yes, so that be my go-to right now.
Okay, so because of your physical stuff, more up tempo, more sort of
Yeah,
yeah, sort of stuff like that. Um, yeah, but I guess it's yeah, because I think we'll always know that you had and I think that's the one thing that you had was a very unique and distinct voice. At the time, did it seem different? Did you feel because you were different from say Coco, and I love the fact that all three of you were given the opportunity to
right,
sing, but you were very distinct. You almost sounded much younger than
right.
everyone else and stuff. And I sang. Looking back, did you feel that you sounded different and unique?
Yeah, you know what? I actually didn't care for my voice. I thought it was like it was different because I was, you thinking about like, think about Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and all of them. So it's just like I didn't really like it, and then until I really just was like, wow, it is like I thank God for just like giving me that, and it was not like I was a young girl when I got that. It's just like being older, I was just like, wow, like God, thank you for what you've given to me. Yes, it is different, and I'm grateful for it. Yeah, I'm not this person, I'm not that person, but I'm Pamela Long. Thank you, God. Yeah. Yeah, it took me
Yeah.
some use. It took me to get used to that. I promise you. I was like, yo, like, I ain't this person, I ain't that person. Yeah, for real. Mm. Yes, the comparison.
Yeah, I mean, being a solo artist, are you able to incorporate your, um, because you were you're an entertainer more so than a singer, because you're always known as the one who could dance and stuff. But are you able to incorporate that as much, or does it seem different when um, it's different when you had the other two singing and then you are singing and dancing. How? But now, if you were to go out, on your book tour and sing, would you need two backup dancers to sort of help bring out it to help you just go to another level with your dancing and stuff? Because Michael used to have his whole
Hmm.
troupe of dancers as well. As much as he can do his own solo, but it amplifies his dancing when he had others
Hmm.
dancing behind. But for yourself, do you think if you were going on tour and you were performing, that you may have some dancers to support you, or would you just say, I can do this all by
Right.
myself?
You know what? I would say both because you know what, Mandy, I've never been like the choreographed girl. Like it's just like from my heart, like what's there, it just comes out of here. Like don't get me wrong, we had some choreographed done in this kind of third, but for the most part, like it comes from here. And now, mind you, I thank God, and I say this in a place of just lowliness to where it's just like I thank God that I am able to get on the stage because, like I said, that microphone is just something happens soon as I step on the stage. It's like everything just it just goes for me. It just lights up and so I thank God that I believe that both ways, either way, like if I have somebody there and if not, then all it takes is that. Don't get me wrong, it's just like, and I'm not even saying this trying to be funny, but it's just the truth. All it takes is just the Holy Spirit, and He just he's like the wind beneath your wings, and it's just like yo, when you go, it's just like it's just like you're gone, and I tell you that it's just like when I'm in, and I'm just like all right, God, like yeah. I'm there. Hmm.
Yeah. The are you able to? Because what I was hoping that you were going to, when you had the Gone remix, I thought you were going to probably do a little acoustic sets or so
Mm.
singing. Did you ever get to? You had to with a band, singing behind you and stuff. Did you ever get to do something
Yo,
like that?
listen, I had an opportunity to do something, not with the whole band. Well, you know what? Not with the whole band yet. No.
Just
Yeah,
singing with a
like yo, I
guitarist or
did
so.
something
Yeah.
with a dude with the guitar, and I don't know why his name
Mm.
escapes me. I'm so sorry. He's fire. He plays for pretty much a lot of people. Patti LaBelle, and he's a young guy. And when I say that,
Wow.
when he began to play on this guitar, and I was singing to it, like it was so amazing.
Did you record it? Was
No,
it
you know what?
recorded?
We did it at this. I had an event. It was at a studio here in Jersey, and you know what? They have the footage. I'm gonna see if I can get some footage and get it sent over to you, Namdi. When I say that, it was just like oh, so beautiful, and it's just like I performed. He performed. I had the track, and then it was just like he was just playing, and I was just singing. He's dope. He's so dope. So dope. So dope.
Yeah, yeah, but it's the fact that you were singing to the music, which was probably made it
Yeah.
as it is, and so I was hoping we were going to see more of that, because as I said, there's a lot of us that do miss your voice and stuff. So, oh, you think we? Because when you did your promo for the and you were wearing almost like the is it the
Mhm.
cowgirl sort of
Okay. Yes.
pants,
Yes.
and I thought you were in a studio with others and stuff doing
Hmm.
music.
Right when I had the black pants with the stripes down the side.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was in the
yeah, yeah.
studio. That was the place where I performed at, and I changed the clothes. and he was playing the guitar. Like I promise you, like it was just so beautiful. He was just playing. So you know what? You just gave me such an idea. Like you don't even know. I thank God. Like this just gave. This is just like, uh-oh. Okay. This is one of the moments where it's just like, okay, light bulb. Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Namdi. Thank you for letting the Lord
Yeah,
use
no,
you. Thank you. Thank you.
no,
Yes.
no, no, yeah. Because as I said, the no one would just no one would and if we think of
Mm,
you, we think of somebody
right.
dancing and
Woo.
and just having fun and really, but also that distinct voice. Yourself and
Right.
Slim. Slim had a voice where
Mm-hmm.
it's like that's you could tell it was
Right.
112 when he sang because it was different. And the same with
Wow.
yourself
Very
is
cool.
that it was such a very different voice that wasn't like a Coco or the In
Right.
Vogue stuff and stuff. Yes. Do you miss wearing the black leather
Lord, listen, the
clothes?
black leather was fire. You already the black leather was it. The black leather. Woo, that's all you knew. Like you knew total. We would have some color here and there, but that black leather was it. That was
Well, goodness, when you look back and see you guys, I mean, it sets you guys
right.
apart. But yeah, if you had young musicians and singers and writers who are trying to get into the music industry today, knowing what you've
Right.
experienced, what advice would you give somebody who's like, man, I need to get on and become famous and sing and stuff? What would you, reflecting on your own
Right. You
experience?
know what? I would tell them not to chase fame. Don't look to get famous. That right there, because when you look to get famous, you'll do anything. It's a possibility you can do anything. You will do anything for it. Just come in and do what it is that you love to do. And I would definitely, of course, tell somebody first, man, listen, before you do anything in your life, I don't care if it's music or sweeping the floor, which is dope, because listen, I don't care what type of work you do, it still amounts to something that is beautiful. And so, with that said, I would just say, man, get to know Jesus. Like, yo, look, he's everything. And it's just like allow him to take you into places that he would lead you in. And it's just like, yo, don't just get into everything and don't work with everybody, because everybody ain't for you. Even though they can be the dopest artist ever and everybody know their name, they might not be for you because it might make you compromise everything about who you are. And you're individual. That's how, like in my day, we had Snoop, we had LL, Biggie, Craig Mack, Mace. Everybody was fire. Nobody was like each other. Individuality. Don't never sell yourself short and be like somebody else or try to be like this one or that one. Be you.
Yeah, and the last time you mentioned about not to sell publishing and
Yes. Don't
and
give away your publishing ever. No. Don't sign a contract that says perpetual on it. No. Do not do it. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. Yes, the word and don't sign a 360 deal. Absolutely not. Because that means they're in everything. Absolutely not. Don't do it. No. No. Get you a lawyer that you know that you can trust. And don't get a lawyer that is in cahoots with the record label. Absolutely not. Don't do it. Don't.
but it sounds easy, but then when if they're giving you a golden opportunity and they're saying here's the terms, and if you walk away, you almost feel as if you're not going to be able to get back in. You almost like take the L, thinking, well, once I blow up, we can
Right.
negotiate.
No, look at Master P. Master P. When Master P first came out, I love his story. He said that when he said he went in and he sat down and they offered him, I think, $1 million or something. And he said that him and his brother flew there on the plane. And he said he turned it down. He said his brother was so mad because they left with nothing. And he's like, we was on the plane, like we ain't have nothing. And then next thing you know, what happened to Master P? And look at where he is now. Master P is doing stuff. Percy Miller is doing stuff that you
Mm.
can't even think of right now, doing all of the games and all of that stuff. And he never sold himself short. So one moment doesn't break your life. It doesn't. You got to be patient. Yep, I
Yeah.
heard a brother of mine. He's a friend of mine, but he's like a big brother. He said his mother used to say to him, "Be patient, because when you're patient, you can see everything." I was like, wow, that's dope. Yes, I'm just gonna take you over here for a second because I gotta get my thing because it's going to my laptop. It was I have to take you with me on a little walk.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, but it does sound he's at but think about it though, because from your own
Mhm.
experience, did you guys didn't go in thinking, okay, we've got a lawyer? Oh, did you come in thinking we've got a lawyer? Let's read the
No.
contracts, and we're
No,
gonna
listen, we were young. It's just like you young and all you could think about is just like, yo, look, when I was young, all I said is I wanted to make my mama rich. That was it. I wanted to make my mama rich. That was it. So it's just like you got that mindset, is you ready to sign anything. You like, yo, look, I'm about to be on and so it's just like, absolutely not. Don't do it. Don't do it. Take a moment. It's just like, yo, look, like Master P, excuse me, Percy Miller, he said to his brother, if they gonna give us this million, he's like, how much do you think we really are worth? And he said his brother was so mad at him. Now look at them. Look at how they went. Skyrocketed. And then it's just like now his career is still going on. It's just like you don't even see him in the music industry no more. He's in a whole nother bracket. Yeah.
yeah, but I guess yeah, I mean, I guess if hopefully my hope is that you do as I said, I love the video for Gone. I
Oh,
think it's
Nandy,
just so much light, so much excitement. I just love the way you were dancing and
yes,
having fun. I love the direction you went with that, and I hope you come up with more of
yes,
that type of beat, and are showcasing your dancing
yes.
side. But I would love to see you do an acoustic version as
Hmm.
well, so that we can remember your voice and your stage
Yes,
voice
nice, Andy. I
as
promise
well.
you, you put something. I'm definitely like, all right, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. If they can find the footage, that would definitely be great, just to be able to put it
Yes,
out there and
that's
stuff.
dope. Yeah, that's
Yeah. So you got a lot. Yeah, you got a lot of people. Avon from Uganda sends love.
hi. I love that. Thank y'all so much. Yes, and I saw that.
Yeah,
Fran, happy early birthday to you as well too on Monday. I see that. Yes, and thank you for
yeah.
chiming in. Thank you, OG. Thank you, Avon. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. I thank y'all so much. Yes.
Yeah, yes. You as I said, you definitely, yeah. And as I said, when I saw you promoting your book, and I saw Kima posting the total, I was thinking, oh, she's coming back. So the timing, so she's gonna be on stage and say,
Right,
"Don't forget to get my
right.
new book." And
Right.
it's
It's
but
something about the time and how everything came, like everything is working because I was already working. So it's just like you would think like, all right, like you said, it makes sense. Oh, okay, such, but it was already in the timing. It was just like God had already gave me March 12th. Like of course it's just like, all right, put the book out March 12th. I was like, all right, God, like this is what it is and I'm gonna do. So we got everything together and it was just like boom. And it wasn't set up that way, but it's just like God just got a way of making everything work together for good. Like, yeah,
yeah. But guys, the I've put the link, and in the description there's the link to
yes,
Amazon, where you can order en masse, and be able to just to follow Pamela's
nice.
journey and her story, because it's you know being in the public eye,
Mm,
um, not to be known for your music, but to have TMZ and the Breakfast Club talking about you in a different way outside of the music is probably may not be the
right.
easiest to
Kevin,
deal with. I have no idea what that's like. I mean, when you had the situation just before, during lockdown and stuff, and you're on, the shade room and all that stuff. How does that feel like when everyone is talking about your business and highlighting your faults? How's that like to get the national press talking
yeah,
about you like that?
Nambi, like on some for real. In the book, I talk about how there was still this in me. I still wanted to have this fame. That's why I told you don't fame for people. Mm-mm. I still wanted to be famous, and it's just like God was like, oh, okay, cool. So this is what we're gonna do. Your name is gonna be everywhere. And I actually turned off all of my notifications on my phone. Everything was
Mm.
off. Like the day that I posted that video, I turned all of my notifications off because I knew that it was going to go bananas. Like I knew that it was gonna skyrocket because of the fact that I had lied. And so um, it was definitely just it was so scary, Namdi, and it was just like in the midst of all of that, God showed me where my heart was at, because it was just like I remember it was like God was like, you don't even care. It was like the word of the Lord was that you don't even care about God. Where is your love for God at? It's about your reputation. That's all you care about, and it was the
Mm.
truth, because I was just like I cared about how people viewed me and what their thoughts of me were. And it was just like God was like, you don't even care about me. Like, where's your love for me? Like, you don't care. And it's just like, yo, so Namdi, that right there was one of the most humiliating, one of the most like, yo, I was so depressed. Like, I mean,
Mm.
depressed. I was so low. Oh, God. Like Namdi, I was so low. I was like, yo, I even talk about in the book, me just like losing my mind, like on the floor. I mean, Namdi, I was in my house. I was sleeping on the floor in the living room, trying to pray and trying to get God to answer me. I mean, I literally was tormented day and night because God took his hand off of me. All peace that I never knew that God like really like, I said it before, the peace of God. But
Mm.
yo, God literally took his hand off of my life. And when I say that there was hell in my life, like all hell broke out. It was like God gave the devil full reign. It was just like, you wanted to play with him, so now this is what you got. Namdi, I used to leave my house and come back to my house. I used to be so sad because I was the only one here. There was nobody else here but me. And I knew that, like going back in here, I knew it was going to be like, oh, man. Because the torment, it was ongoing for years. And that's why I say to people like, yo, listen, like if you know somebody that's going through this, or if you going through it and you're
Mm.
hiding and you're cloaking, please stop today. Today. End it today. And I know that it's rough and it's going to be rough. Namdi, the only reason why I came to the table and told the truth is because of the simple fact that it was almost as if God was giving me one opportunity, another opportunity to tell the truth. Because had I not, I would not be speaking to you on here. I believe that I would have died. I believe that God would have took my life, because it was just like my apostle had sent me this movie called Rosewood, right? And she said to me, she said, I don't think you're telling the truth. And she sent me the video. For lack of better words, she probably says a little bit more than that, but she was just like, I don't believe you telling the truth. Point blank in the period. She up front, like you're not telling the truth. So she sent me the movie. And when I watched this movie and how everything hit all these people's lives for one lie, hit everybody's life. And it was
Mm.
deaths, all types of things that happened, right? And so after I watched the movie, I was like, all right, I knew I had to. I was so afraid to come clean with this, the first video that I did. And I was looking for, like, I was so, you don't even know how many times I re recorded it over and over again. I'm in here shaking and going, like, I was literally just so out of it, because I was just like, yo, I was literally just done. And when I did that, and I told my brother that day, I was like, I'm gonna tell the truth. I was like, I'm gonna let people know that I lied. He asked me, he said, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, I have to. And Nambi, I believe that's the only reason why I'm sitting here, is because God gave me the opportunity to do it. And no, does it make it right, or does it take away what I've done? Absolutely not. But he gave me the opportunity to say, okay, I'm gonna give you one opportunity. But it didn't take away the fact of him taking the peace off of my life, because he took his peace. When I say my mind was almost shot, and all that, all the torment, all the torment from the devil, yo, that for real, that right there alone,
Mm.
like it is so scary to think that you're losing your mind, like losing my mind, and there's nothing I could do about it. Nothing. That's why I say to anybody, like, yo, you cloaking, you know that you have not been 100 and that you hiding stuff for years. Like, yo, it's time to be like, yo, okay, all right, God, like, I know that this ain't gonna be pretty, but I'm more afraid of the fact of losing my life, and not only losing my life here, but eternity, especially if you are a Christian, especially that part, especially if you say, I love Jesus and I'm rocking hard for Jesus, and you know that you cloaking.
And I think that's the part because when you're confessing your faith, but then people are saying, "Well, she's confessed that she's lied against these people and
Mhm.
stuff." Are you reading the messages? Are you hearing what the Breakfast Club and TMZ and all these places and the Shade Room are all saying about you? And are you listening? Are someone telling you about
Right.
it? I
When
mean,
all of that stuff was going on, did I? You know what? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you
Somebody,
listen?
somebody.
Yeah,
Nambi, it had gotten so bad to where it's just like that's why I say the effects of what I did. It had rolled over to my nieces, and my nieces trying to defend me on social media because all they know is Auntie
wow,
Pam. Okay, that's my aunt. So you're not gonna be talking to my aunt like this. So just imagine your family trying to come to
yeah,
bat for you, but you have to say to your family, I was wrong. Like it's just like, yo, and so you got this whole mess going on
mm,
because you did it. And then the very people
mm,
that you called your friends and your sisters and I love you, and the church that believed that you was this minister, and you giving the word of God, and you
yeah,
loving Jesus,
mm,
but at the same time too, this
yeah,
is what you do. Not only did you do this, you
yeah,
lied about the book. Not only did you lie on people, but to find out
mm,
that you wasn't even 100 with us. Like I'm supposed to be your friend and I'm supposed to be your sister, and here you are, like yo,
mm,
dogging me out. Like really, this is what you do?
mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
So part of what we're reading on Mask is some of you really going through that journey and explaining what it was like,
yeah,
and
yeah. That part. For
yeah,
somebody to say, hey, listen, at the end of it all, it's just like, man, like yo, like God sees it all. And it's just like you can't what you do in the dark. My mom used to say, what you do in the dark, always come to the light. And the Bible says that as well
yeah,
too. What is hidden will be revealed. So it's just like you cannot play with God. And that's the thing that I'm saying. Like
yeah,
Nambi, don't get me wrong. Do I fall down? Yes. Am I intentionally out here just trying to just willy nilly anymore? Absolutely not. I'm not.
yeah,
God. Mm-mm. No, for me, God. No, I bow out. God. Nope.
yeah,
God, please. I wave the flag. Whatever it is, God, I
yeah,
submit because I'm not playing with God. Because I lost the fear of
yeah,
God, Nambi. I lost the fear of God. I didn't have fear of God anymore. I didn't have fear. I lost
mm,
the fear of God. And because of that, I thought that I could play and still be this quote unquote, I'm a good person. No, you're not. God said, without me, without Jesus, you don't have nothing. That your righteousness is as filthy rags. Like it means nothing to me. So yeah,
mm, yeah. Well, just as we wrap up, you were on BET Encore, and recently we just lost
yeah.
Iris. Yeah, well, I mean, what can you remember about her?
Anamdi's a beautiful soul. When I say Iris was just a beautiful soul, a real person, she was just real. And there were times when God showed me just her realness, and it's just like, yo, take you back to make you be real. And so I just thank God she's a real person, and she really was just a beautiful, beautiful soul, a beautiful soul, a beautiful soul,
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful, absolutely beautiful inside and out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really. I mean, they're coming to the UK next week. Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about reality
Hmm.
TV, and you seem to have navigated yourself as best as possible on BET
Woo.
The Encore.
Yes, God. Yes.
Would you ever go back to do one again?
Nambi, you know what? I would say there's a possibility, right? And I say a possibility
Oh,
because if God says the same, if I would do it, I would do it. I would want to do it more based upon around more of my life. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like you do stuff with your life. This is what it is that's going on, and you have your own camp and your own
Mm-hmm.
people. Because Namdi, I promise you, having a camera in your face 24 hours a day, all day, every day, and it's just like when you go to the restroom, they be like, "Oh, we're not going. You know, you're not gonna have anything in the restroom or nothing like that." They didn't have any cameras, but it's just like, yo, you had to turn your microphone off when you go when you know you have to go take your turn turn your mic off, and then when you go to sleep, they tell you, you know, we're not going to have any cameras in your room, and then when you sleep, all you hear is zzz, zzz. You can hear the camera moving. It's just like really like come on. Like so, it's just like having a camera in your face like all day. Like if you go to cry, if you get upset, like the first you see people come running in, like it's just like yo, you can't. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
They have to
Yo,
capture
right,
this.
Nambi. So it literally was a lot. And I can see, like, and I promise you, I can see it doesn't make it right. Because I'm not going to endorse the way that people act sometimes, you know, because sometimes people just act out. But I can
Mm-hmm.
honestly say I can see how, because that camera, yeah, and you just like you can really just have a moment to where you just feel like you about to lose it, like yo, I'm about to go all the way off, like I'm about to go off,
Wow.
and if you don't have that restraint, you will go off, and I can see why.
Wow. Does it ever get to the point where you forget the camera's there and you just act
You know
normal?
what? Yes, you know what? There's a normalcy. You just being who you are. Like I definitely could say it's just like you being who you are. At the same time, too, you saying to yourself, like it's just like, um, you careful. You think about it. Some people just don't care. You know, some people just like I'm going to say, do whatever it is that I want to do, and it is what it is. I don't care how I look. It's whatever. But it's just like at the end of the day, it's just like you gotta be. It's just like you like, absolutely not. But that's in everyday life, though. You know, just thinking about like even sometimes as a person, there are times. Don't get me wrong, you get upset and you feel yourself like, yo, like ooh, okay, God, let me go. I'm gonna walk away. I gotta walk away. And then there were times that I was outside a lot walking. I had to go and walk, and
Uh,
sometimes I remember one time I walked so far they thought I was leaving because it was just like I knew that the cameras. I found out that the cameras couldn't be out there, so I was like, yo, like
okay.
I just got to get away from here. Like, yo, I'm walking, crying. I'm just having my moments. Like, yo, look, I remember there were times when I was crying. You hear me? Walking, just
Mm.
like, yo, like God, please help me. Because it's rough. It can be rough. And you there for 30 days with people that
Wow.
you don't know, and then people showing you all types of attitudes and stuff. You say to yourself like, oh. And then that's why I said you can see why people sometimes do it. And then sometimes, like, you know, some of them, you know, they'll get people to nudge you, like try to make them upset or try to make this one mad. Yeah.
Uh,
Like they'll do stuff like that. Even when you don't know it. Like sometimes if I don't know it, then somebody come wilding out, you looking like, where is this coming from? And so you looking like, oh, for real? This how you doing it? Yeah, right. So you try to get yourself together, like, yeah.
no, goodness. No, goodness. Well, definitely, Pam. It is. Did you change from Pam to Pamela? Was that part of a rebranding? Or
Name change.
I
Yeah,
don't
name
know.
change. Name, do you know how God do it? You know how he'll change your name? He'll change your name. Pamela. Pamela.
Sarah
Come
to Sarah
on.
and Abraham to
You
Abraham,
got it. Come on, Nambi.
as
Come
Isaac
on.
to
Yes,
Israel.
that's it. That's it. Come on.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay. So yes, travel along.
yeah.
So, hopefully you find the footage of you singing. It would have been great if you had released the backstage,
Right.
the behind the scenes of
Okay.
Gone.
You know what?
You
I'm gonna
know,
look and see because it was just like he was playing over the music that we did. We did the slow version of Going, and he was playing over the music. He was playing over it, and then at the end he started playing the guitar, and it was just like I started singing some. So, but you gave me a whole idea of like doing something. Yeah. So I
okay,
definitely I'm gonna look through some footage, and even if it's just like some stuff that I can send you, like little clips, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna hit somebody up and see
yeah.
if I can get some footage.
Yeah, well, Pamela, I have put the, as I said, everyone, it is on it is on if you just search Pamela Long on Mask on Amazon. As I mentioned, the link is here. I put the well, you can't, well, the link is in the description. So if you click on it, it will take you to Amazon where you can order the book. I think your website, Pamela, forever. Never.
PamelaLongForever.com. Yeah.
Yes, and the link isn't on
No,
your
not yet
website.
because
It just
not
not
yet.
yet.
I didn't put it up there because I'm actually going to be selling books. Like I'll sign them and get that stuff done, but we haven't ordered those books as of yet. Yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah. So if you get the and if you haven't checked out Gone, I don't. Is it
yeah,
Goody
Goonie
Remix or who
remix.
was it?
Yep, going to Goonie remix.
Goody
Yes,
Remix.
yes.
Yeah, I love the track. I love the
Oh, thank
video,
you
and
so much, man.
please check that out. But um, so Pamela's been on. This is her fifth time on Halftime Chat, so you could tell that the very first time she came on, she said, "Okay, we've got about 15 minutes, so let's just go." I managed to squeeze an hour, so who knew that 3 years later she'd be
Right,
back for
come
the fifth
on.
time? So
Yes, Namdi.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm always appreciative, but as I
Thank
said,
you.
we're gonna make sure people get the
Yeah,
book, and I appreciate your honesty and everything,
God
and
bless
that I
you.
always admire that you don't pretend that you're not going through. We fall down, but you keep getting up, and so that's the beautiful part of things and
Thank
stuff.
God.
So
Yes,
yes,
Namdi. Come on. I'm here to stay. Like, yo, listen, God got work to do with this girl over here. So I'm grateful and I'm so thankful that he would give me such an opportunity again. That's the part for me. I'm like, all right, God, let's go. And he keeps saying to me, open your mouth. So I'm learning how to open my mouth and just speak the truth. And it's just like I said, it's not always comfortable. It's not always
yeah,
comfortable,
yeah,
but it's freeing though, you know? It's freeing. And so
yeah,
I thank God for freeing me. I do.
yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on, and for well, and we'll keep looking out for the new music, for the new videos, for the
Yes.
new books, and if God willing, reuniting with one of the
Oh,
baddest
man.
R&B
Oh,
trio.
praise God. That's the Lord.
If when God permits,
Yep.
that will
Yep.
be.
If he permits that thing for real, because Kima and Keisha look absolutely amazing. They look so good. They look beautiful. They look so good. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Come on. God is a good
Yeah,
singer. He is.
yeah, and I think that's important for people to see that you're actually us loving and supporting them, because people will think to forget them and stuff, but that's the biggest
Mm-hmm.
part to hear, that you are supporting them and
Right,
stuff.
absolutely, man. Listen, Nambi, at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to do. It's just like, look, we can't do everything, so why hate on somebody because they doing them? Like, yo, look, at the end of the day, I thank God. Like, I think him that I'm still out here being able to be used, and to do what it is that I love to do, and they're doing what it is that they love to do as well. Right now, it's just like we're on two different paths, two different paths, but it doesn't mean that I should be looking at them some sort of kind of way. That would be absolutely wrong to me. It's
Mm.
wrong.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you said two different paths, which doesn't mean that they can't cross
Hmm.
over in
Right.
God's time. So that's going to be what we'll look
Yes.
out for.
Yes.
Well, I thank you, Pamela. I'll let you go, but and as I said, I'll keep sharing the
Thank
link
you,
so
man.
where people can order the book.
Thank you so much.
And yes, look, yes, and hope you have a
You
good
too. You do
evening
the
and
same,
stuff.
and I'll definitely be back because I'm going for number 10, number 12. Yep, and we're gonna just keep going
Y-
and going.
Yeah, yeah, you know what, I appreciate the fact that anytime I reach out, you're always willing
Yeah,
to come on, and
of course.
Kimberly's able to set things up. So
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you,
definitely.
Nambi.
So
Thank you for having me.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of
Age and somewhere in between.
Us, or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
with Peter the Most.
yes, got in the business now, I'll be sure. But
What was it like growing up?
Business and she's still making an impact on
4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay.
They don't understand what Jodeci's voice meant.
Lay it.